All right, we're looking at the drone video for a 10-acre tract with direct frontage on the Niagara River. The red truck at the bottom of the screen, that is parked on Marigold Drive, and we're looking westerly over the property with the river in the distance. You can see the truck is moving now. This is kind of a different type of video we were doing here. We were actually in the truck doing the ground video while we had the drone in the air. Just to try something different to see if that works. So what the truck is doing is pulling ahead. Oh, I've got an incoming call. Ignore that. Truck is pulling ahead a couple hundred feet, and I thought you could see it in the drone video. Unfortunately, you can't, but it just took a left onto the start of the easement road, and then there's the truck again heading south. It'll actually cross over the property on the way to the river. So where the truck was parked, where that looks like a road into the property where the truck was originally parked, that's just the power line easement.
You have an incoming call.
I thought I ignored that call. There we go. Okay. So now the truck is just starting to cross over the property again. And you'll want to look at the MapRight app and the aerial maps and all that stuff to see. This will make a little more sense then. But that gravel easement road crosses over the property and then winds its way right down to and across the meadow on the west side of the property. So there the truck is kind of heading westerly. We're headed toward the river. These tracks at the riverside at the Niagara had some logging done within the last 1 to 2 years. Definitely was not clear cut, but they did remove some of the bigger commercial oak trees. It looks amazing already in the spring and summertime, but this is a winter video, so no leaves on the trees whatsoever. But that's great for drone videos because you can see exactly how the ground is situated. Okay, so this, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your mindset, I guess, this is a really long video because we did the ground video. We were literally filming the ground video in the truck, and then we'd move the drone to follow the truck, and then, kept going from there. So now what we're doing is moving the drone. So still over the property, still looking to the west. Truck is parked on the gravel easement road, which is crossing over the property. And then on the right, you can actually see the power line, which is going down the road. So this does have power directly on it, actually in 2 spots, I believe. So headed down the hill, and in a minute we'll catch up with the drone. But if you look dead ahead at that meadow, that's the property. That's where the truck's headed. So we're looking westerly over the property with the Niagara River in the distance. Amazing section of water, and we'll see it in a second. Across the river on the right, that's Maggard's Canoe Rental and Campground, I believe. And the truck is almost to the bottom, and I think in just a moment here we park and then pull the drone further ahead. So you're definitely getting a good solid aerial view of the property, that's for sure. And since this is a wintertime photo and things don't look as pretty as they could or will in the spring and summer, if you purchase the property, we'd be more than happy to go back out there in the summertime and get you some beautiful summertime photos with all the leaves and all the greenery. Okay, so crossing over the power line, there's the truck. The truck is sitting to the south of the property right now. We're basically over the property looking west. Those could be hawks up in the air. Later on, the day we took this, we actually saw a bald eagle right down on the river, just a few hundred feet south of the property. We got him on video too. It was really cool. He swooped right down to see what we were up to. So I assume now we're about to drive the truck forward a little more. If you look at the meadow, there's a set of tracks going northerly across about the middle of the meadow. That's basically following the south line of the property to the west. Now from where the truck is, okay, about 10 feet in front of the truck is the southern line of the property. So if you look at the ground video, you'll see what we're talking about. Actually, that's why we're getting out of the truck as we do the ground video, to show the survey marker. This really needs to have a driveway cleared through that tiny section of trees to get onto the property, because the line runs just right through that last small tree. So when we drive onto the meadow in a minute, for about the first, I don't know, 20-30 feet, we're actually just south of the property, and then as soon as the road curves to the right, we cross over onto the property. That's just the way the survey came out. But I mean, that's the great thing about having a fully surveyed property and having true line marking done, where they mark the actual length of the property lines. It's much more expensive, but we wanted to do it on these, and then you can see precisely where the property line is. So you're welcome to bring a chainsaw and kind of clear your own driveway, or if our guys do it first, it'll be done. But if you happen to get up there in the near future and it's not done, feel free to do exactly what we're doing on the truck and just pull to the west for about the first 20 feet. You're on the neighboring property, but that's fine. Now the truck's on the property, and now we're headed westerly toward the open part of the river there. And I'm sure that's what we're doing in the truck, is stopping to say, hey, we're directly on the property now. And the truck is, like I said, headed westerly, kind of running close to that south line of the property. So what you see on the right, to the right side of the truck, is on the property. And the nice thing is, you see where the meadow widens out there. Basically that entire section to the right of the truck is on the property. So super nice. I mean, that's just ideal. And where the truck is right now, according to the maps we have, is that's out of the flood zone. That's high and dry there. Now as soon as you start about 50 feet ahead of where the truck is, it'll start to drop down, and that's probably, on the edge of getting back into the flood zone. Haven't seen water up there, but certainly could happen. But where the truck is right now, our maps show that it's out of the flood zone. So I mean, that's one of the amazing things about this property, is that not only do you have access to a major river where you can fish for trout, fish for bass, fish for catfish, but you've got a building site close to the water, out of the flood zone. It's fantastic. We're just kind of getting out of the truck there to take a look at that meadow, I believe. So again, as we look westerly, the truck was on basically the south line. We pulled more toward the meadow just now to take a look at it. And now we're finally going to play a little catch up with the drone and I believe get a better look at the Niagara River. So from where the truck is, it's kind of a little miniature knoll, so potentially a really nice building site, looking at that private open meadow. Gorgeous. Now as you look toward the river, you've got what looks like a channel of the river. It's really, there's no current in that first portion. It's just water there. When the water's high, there's going to be some water in there. When the water's low, there'll be less water or no water there. And then the main channel of the river is further back. You can see it there. So you've got a large portion kind of between the two lines of water or whatnot, with some big sycamore trees, although it's probably mostly gravel and sand and black dirt in there. Now we're pulling the truck back to the south line, I believe. Yeah. So looking west, truck parked at the south line. The bulk of the property would be to the right of the truck, going up to that tree line, basically. So a lot of good open ground there. I mean, you can fish from right there. I guess you'd have to cast through those trees, so that wouldn't be that fun. But if you look across, and we'll do it, I think the drone video in a minute, we go up and across and look at the neighbors across the way. But they've got a really similar situation in that they come down, and then they've got that almost like a channel of water that they cross over to get to the main channel of water. And what they've done is they basically pushed the bank down a little bit and created a crossing in two spots. And so that'd be probably the thing to do if you wanted really good access to the main channel, is get a piece of equipment and push that bank down. It's actually a pretty simple job because you're not dealing with layers of shelf rock. You're just dealing with clay and gravel and whatnot. It just takes a couple hours to push a little crossing through. So now we're still headed west. We're looking at the main channel of the Niagara. which is just absolutely gorgeous. Like we mentioned earlier, that you can actually fish for trout, successfully fish for trout from the property. This is in a white ribbon trout fishing area. Very, very few of those anywhere in the nation. But this is downriver from Bennett Springs State Park, where they raise rainbow trout and brown trout, and they release them into the water. So there's a 12-mile section downriver from Bennett Springs State Park where you can catch and harvest and enjoy those rainbow trout and those brown trout. And this is literally within that. So you've got over 500 feet of water frontage on a white ribbon trout fishing section of the Niagara River. Pretty darn amazing. So now as we look northerly, you can see what I'm talking about with the campground across, in that they have kind of that small channel of water before they get to the river, and all they've done is probably taken a skid loader or some type of piece of machinery and kind of pushed down a little crossing. In fact, if you look to the left, on the left side of the main channel, they've actually put a line of rocks into the river to kind of, I'm not sure why they did that, but that's interesting. Okay, now looking back easterly, you can see the truck parked at the southern line of the property. And if I didn't already mention it, that the boundary does go to the main channel of the river here. We were trying to get down into, it's kind of fun with the drone, you can actually get down and if the sun is right, you can see the different fish, which is really cool. The sun wasn't quite right today, and it had actually rained a couple days before, and the water wasn't as clear as it is sometimes. So looking that way, the land was on the left. Excuse me. And then looking downriver with the land on the right. If I haven't mentioned it already, you can go to InstantAcres.com to see if this property is still available. We store all the videos on YouTube. We leave them on at the request of our buyers because they like to continue to view them. So unfortunately, just because it's on YouTube, if that's where you're watching it, doesn't mean it's available. But all you have to do is go to InstantAcres.com, and within 30 seconds you'll see if this is available or not. So that's looking at Maggard Canoe and Campground there. So actually a good portion of their operation takes place kind of on that gravel bar area. I believe they have some campsites, and that's where where the canoes ultimately come out of the water in the rafts. A lot of these outfitters will drop you off at Bennett Springs State Park or here or there, and then you'll float down to their establishment. So now we can look down at their little, you can see the crossing area across the little section of river. Looks like they need a little more rock in there, maybe some gravel. Oh, there's actually a dump truck out on their gravel bar right now, if you look at that. So, I mean, this is an active river, so an operation like those guys, they, late winter, early spring, they start to kind of shape things and clean things and get ready for the river season. And this is an unbelievably popular section of water. It's just mind-blowing how popular this is. We were so excited to be able to get any land at all, let alone this quality of frontage, this much frontage, just unbelievable. So I think we're just going to go way up now and take a good look at maybe the whole works. So you've got county road frontage, you've got easement road access, you've got electric on site, you've got high and dry building sites, you've got, like I said, over 500 feet of total frontage. Wow, on the Niagara River. I didn't even mention the Barclay Conservation Area. That's like 200 or 300 feet from this property on the other side of the river. I mean, it's super close. It's 426 acres of public land with like 1.5 miles of river frontage at the conservation area, which is pretty fantastic. They have drop-off points, they have boat launch, they have a gravel canoe and raft launch, and it's just right up around the corner from the property. So actually it's a cool short little float to have someone drop you off or drop off your buddies or your kids or whatever at the Barclay Conservation Area, and then they can float down the river and take out the canoes or kayaks right on your property. I mean, that's kind of like a floater's dream. Oh, okay, there we go. So there's the Barclay Conservation Area right there. There's some kind of building on the south part, and then we're on the lower part of the screen, and then up toward the upper end of the screen, that's the main, one of the main river access points where you can put in your canoe or kayak or whatnot. Fantastic property. So yeah, this is tract 10 at Riverside at the Niangua, fully surveyed, 10.88 acres in size. You can check us out at InstantAcres.com. You can call us in the office, or you can email us anytime at all at sales@InstantAcres.com. We would love to hear from you.